Welcome to Moms in the Hub podcast, the one and only podcast for Lubbock moms. I share mom fells, discuss trending mom topics, and highlight amazing parents in the 806. Grab a drink and join me as we navigate motherhood in the Hub City. Hello, and welcome back to Moms in the Hub podcast and to our newest edition of video podcasting. We have a wonderful guest today. I want to introduce Lindsey Johnson. Lindsey is the mother to 3 boys. She is also a business owner. They have Infinity Wellness, Pure Health, and she is a chiropractor and an acupuncturist. Is that correct?
It's correct. Yes.
And Lindsey also received a cancer diagnosis earlier this year. And so today she is going to talk about mom life, being a business owner, kind of her story, and she's willing to share all the details. And I just think it's a very important story for all the moms listening. And we're so thankful that you're here today and thankful that you're willing to share about your life with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So go ahead and tell us, all about your life, being a mom and your businesses and whatever.
Okay. So let's see. From the beginning, I am from Oklahoma originally and moved here. My husband is from here. And so that's how I ended up in Lubbock, which works out. Everybody's so amazing here, truly, especially through this year. But we have been married for 10 years. He is also a chiropractor. We met in chiropractic school. And we have 3 boys, which I love. I love being a boy mom. I don't know what I would do with girls. I don't know. So I love that. We have, one is 10 and then 6 and 4. So really good ages, really fun. And we have a business together, my husband and I, that we're chiropractors, and we absolutely love doing that. Love helping people, kids, adults, everybody. It's more of a wellness clinic. And then we partnered with 2 of our best friends. One is a medical doctor to open Pure Health, and it gave us just another avenue of helping people with so many other things, kind of with biohacking and just different things. And so we've always kind of been in that world and really into wellness and staying healthy. And then I get, my diagnosis this year. So that turned a whole new, that taught us a few other things.
Right. So can you talk to me a little bit about your diagnosis and kind of how that happened and how you discovered it?
Yes. So so when I found out in January, and I was 39, and it wasn't like a conscious effort, but I had kind of told myself this year I was going to slow down. I was always in a hurry, like, come on, kids, hurry. We got to go here. We got to go there. Pick them up, take them there. And I was sick of it. I was like, I have to slow down. I'm tired of like living in stress world, like calm it down. And so I had kind of started that in January. Well, I was in the shower is where I was. I was in the shower. And so whenever I nursed, I had mastitis. I don't know if you've ever had that.
Yes.
Yes. It's awful. So I had mastitis twice. And so since then, even when I'm not nursing, I was always like checking, like, wait, is it swollen? Is it, I don't know. It just, right. I think it sticks with you after you've been through something like that. And so I was always aware. That made me very aware of my body. Well, so I was just in the shower and I noticed there was a knot, and I was like, wait a second. I mean, it was prominent. And I wouldn't have ever noticed that if I wouldn't have been slowing down in life, because, usually it's like in the shower, out of the shower, I was always in a hurry. This was like, I was taking my time. I had slowed down and I found it. Okay. So I went to my husband. I was like, I just found this. And thank goodness he supported me and was like, let's get this checked out. He easily could have been like, oh, that's nothing. Because no one thinks about this. This is not anything I had ever even thought about, honestly.
Well, especially at 39. So
39. Yeah. And so I immediately got in with a gynecologist. So that's the first place you should go, is get in with a gynecologist. And thank goodness she was so amazing and listened to me. They checked me and they were like, yep, even they were like, it's probably nothing, but let's get this checked out.
Right.
They didn't want to scare me, I'm sure, but they sent me for a mammogram and an ultrasound, which was huge because I'm 39. They easily could have said, wait 6 months, or
Mhm.
wait until your first mammogram, or you're just too young for this. I have talked to a lot of women that they had that happen to them. So I'm so grateful. And I still tell her today, it was Jen Owen in town. I still tell her today, thank you, because she just made sure to get the most, most we could get done at that point to check it
Right.
out. So I went in and got the mammogram. It's not that bad. Everyone says how horrible a mammogram is. It's not at all. But and they that day, I mean, they came right in. I should have known then, but I was still kind of in denial. But they came in right then and said, you need a biopsy. I'm like, what? Biopsy? And just the sound of that is scary in
Right.
itself. And I think I was more worried about the needle than I was like a cancer diagnosis, because it was still in the back of my head. And so it was a week. I had to wait a week. And
For your
had that.
biopsy, you had to wait a week?
I had to wait a week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I had the biopsy, and it was the next day the doctor called me and said, Lindsey, it's cancer. And that was a low point. That was bad. I mean, it was still to this day, I can't believe it. I mean, 39. So, that really skyrocketed everything into a lot of doctor's appointments. And you want to know quick, like what is happening, what's going on. So I was literally with the oncologist the next day. I turned into a cancer patient the next day. I mean, it still blows my mind. I can't believe it. And all of my blood work is always perfect. My blood pressure, everything, nothing would have led me to that if I wouldn't have found it myself. I mean,
Right.
nothing. So I had, you fall into this, you have to kind of find your team. And this is when you have to really start advocating for yourself. I learned that it took me a little bit, but I finally figured out, wait, I have to find the team that feels right for me. And I had a few consults here with like surgeons and different people. And I was like, this just doesn't feel right. I'm young. I'm about to have a mastectomy. Like, I want to make sure I feel comfortable about this because there's nothing fun about it. So one of our friends here knew about a doctor in Dallas that was doing a special procedure. And so I was able to get a consult with her. It was Dr. Farr and Dr. Haddock in Dallas at UT Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
They had this procedure that is a single port robotic mastectomy, and it's a lot easier on the tissue.
Okay.
And if there's not cancer around the nipple, they're able to preserve that. I mean, that's huge. I mean, if anybody's ever Googled mastectomy, it looks scary.
Right. Yeah.
But they have come around they have new techniques now, which is really amazing. I was so grateful. I recovered quicker. I mean, it was a really good place and really great people to be with. And so it was pretty quick. I had that surgery. I chose a double mastectomy, and I chose that because it wasn't even a thought. I was just like, yes, I just didn't want to deal with it again.
Right.
And what they do is they take that tissue and they test it, and they found out, I mean, it was more aggressive than we even realized. Even when they would examine me, they're like, I don't think it's in the lymph node. I think you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it had spread to some lymph nodes. I mean, it ended up being stage 3.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah.
Wow. And well, it just reinforces how important doing your self exams are.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, advocating for yourself. Cause a lot
I
of times
know.
I've had mammograms and it's like, come back in 6 months. So thank goodness
I know.
that everybody
Yeah.
jumped on everything the way they did. And you especially.
I was really grateful for that. I mean, I really have connected with a lot of women that they haven't always had that experience, and so it's like you have to just find those right doctors and just push for it, but mostly know your body and kind of just know if something's off. So then we rolled into chemo. I started chemo a month after I had my surgery, so it was like really fast.
Can you hear
5
me?
months. Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Did you lose me?
Yes, that happens. That will happen occasionally.
So I rolled into chemo. That was 5 months of chemo,
Okay.
and there was a cold cap. I researched everything. Okay. So I found a cold cap that you can wear to protect your hair.
Mhm.
And it worked, which is unreal. Even a lot of the nurses hadn't seen it that much.
Mhm.
And even the doctor was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, I mean, it worked. And so,
Explain cold capping to me. I have watched your stories and stuff, but for some people listening, what exactly is that?
so it is this cap that you put, there's different ones. There's a few different ones out there, but the one I had, you put into dry ice. And so you have to wheel up your own cooler,
Okay.
and you have 3 caps, and you have to rotate them every 25 minutes because you want to keep them, it's negative 25 degrees.
Under
So
the head.
it's so cold. So you have to keep rotating them every 25 minutes. So you have to have somebody do that. And you do it an hour before the chemo gets into your system, during the chemo, and then you do it 5 hours after chemo. So
Wow.
it's a commitment. So it's not for everyone.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I had to give it a try. I had to know, I had so many people just sign up for me, and different people came each day, each treatment,
Uh-huh.
because I had 16 treatments. So
Is
um,
that like once a week or every couple days?
at first, the one I did at first is like the most challenging chemo there is. And that was for 2 months. That was every other week. Takes
Okay.
you that long to recover. And then I did it, they changed the drug. So a lot of people don't know about chemo. I didn't.
Yeah.
There's different drugs for different people, and breast cancer, it's very similar drugs that we use, but so they did one at first, and then they switched over to another one for 3 months. So that was every week. And so it was just a constant being prepared to do the capping. We would train people on how to do it.
Mhm.
And that was really nice because my husband could still work. He didn't have to take off every single time I had chemo.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, I could only wash my hair once a week. I had to be I couldn't dye my hair. I still haven't, because so I'm only 2 months out of chemo right now.
Okay.
And so I have to still, it's kind of fragile still. And yeah, so that was the cold capping, you know.
That does sound like a commitment, but
It is.
you said it worked, and that's amazing that there's that kind of stuff available, because I had
Well,
no idea.
I know. The first thing I thought about, when you get a diagnosis like this, the first thing you think about is chemo and losing your hair. And
Mhm.
I didn't want my kids to see me like that, honestly. That
Yeah.
was my main motivator. I, it just, I don't know. That was me. That was me.
Right.
Some people they seriously are fine with it, and they can wear a wig and it's all great. Yeah, that was my motivation. So it was so great to have that choice to be able to do
Mhm.
that. So
So did you said so you kept your hair. What about your eyebrows? Did anything?
yeah, so it's kind of cool because the hair on my legs is still not growing back. How great is that? I'm like,
Oh,
please
yeah.
don't come back. But
That's
my
crazy.
eyebrows thinned. They did not fully leave. So
Uh-huh.
I started using a product that really helps just fill it in. Um, and then so the eyebrows didn't fully, my eyelashes fell out at one point in the middle of it, but they started growing back in I think took like 2 weeks. They're
Mhm.
still not normal. They're kind of weird. So I wear magnetic lashes. So they're not there yet, but they did, yeah, it got kind of I already don't have a lot of, I don't have a lot of dark hair. So
Yeah.
um it was, it definitely, you could tell,
Right.
but I could get around it. I always try to figure out ways around things.
That's amazing. And so you said you're 2 months out from chemo.
Yeah.
Um, so what are you doing right now? What's the diagnosis? Where are you at in your journey?
Yeah. So now I got the full package. I am doing radiation right now.
Okay.
So everything is, surgery is to just get it out. But the chemo is for systemic, for the whole body, to make sure there's not you don't want one cell left. So the chemo runs through the whole body, and then the radiation spot treats this area. So
Okay.
it's like high powered x-ray. You don't feel it. But it causes a burn, and it inside and out, and then it's fatigue and all kinds of stuff. But anyways, um, So radiation, I have 30 treatments and I am at 19. So I'm
Almost
almost,
there.
yes, yes.
So with the chemo radiation, you said fatigue, but with chemo, how did you feel with that? Were you very sick?
Chemo, the first 2 months were so hard. They were so hard. I was so sick. Thank goodness for, what is it, Zofran? Um,
Yeah.
thank goodness for that, because that got me through it. But well, it was like 1 week I really felt horrible, and then the second week I would recover and be okay, and then you'd roll back into it again.
Mhm.
Um, and then once I got to, but honestly, when you think about cancer and you think about chemo, you just picture people like in bed and just can't move. It wasn't like I could function,
Right.
I really stayed healthy. And once I got into the last 3 months, that drug I took better. And so I was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't that horrible, that last bit of it.
Well, I'm sure being in such good health that you already are, that probably had a role to play in a
It was
lot of it
huge.
too.
It was huge. And the more I stuck to what I knew and did,
Mhm.
I got through it. I mean, I truly stayed healthy during cancer treatment. I mean, it's unreal. And I think it's because of everything I was doing before.
Yeah. Well, I noticed, watching your stories and stuff, you were still very committed to your workouts, your workout regimen, which I mean is amazing, especially if you don't feel well. And
Mhm.
and it's just a good example for everybody. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing there
Yeah.
with your workouts.
Well, so okay, so it's been about a year since I started doing weight training.
Mhm.
Thank goodness I did that. That group of girls they're so amazing. It's all women supporting women, always.
Mhm.
And so that was so huge for my morale anyways, and for the mental aspect of it. Um, and then they are so forgiving about just do what you can, and
Right.
so I had started that really right before this all happened. So I wanted to stick with it as much as possible and just show up, even if it meant I wouldn't last very long, or um, I just had to modify. If I had to modify sometimes, or there was times that I was out for a little while,
Mhm.
which was fine. And then whenever I had my surgery, I started walk and talks. And
Mhm.
so my friends, I would have different friends come over and we would walk through the neighborhood, and it was during the spring. So
Mhm.
we loved it. It was like girl time. We're getting
Yeah.
exercise. And so I just knew I couldn't stop. I knew the different treatments I'm doing, a surgery, all this stuff that's happening. It's some of it can be permanent if you don't move. And I needed to get movement, and I just pushed my limits because it was the reason I was in such a good state in the beginning, and so I'd wanted
Mhm.
to just stick with it as much as possible, and I so, yeah, I just stuck with all of that, and I'm truly in more shape than I was when I was diagnosed. It's bizarre.
Really.
Yeah,
Well, it's
it's
inspiring too. I mean, not only do you have the mindset, but you also have the motivation, and you've like you said, you just wanted to show up, and that's a huge
yeah,
part of it.
mindset is huge. Yeah, mindset is very huge.
Well, another part that I want to talk about, which is a huge, huge part of this, especially because we're Lubbock moms and moms in the hub, we're
Mhm.
revolved around being mothers and motherhood.
Yep.
How has this been with your children? How did you explain it to them? How is, going through your treatments plus being a mom, a busy mom of three young kids? How has that aspect been?
Well, already in our house, we try to always kind of preach wellness. And I don't like to feed into like sickness. I don't ever
Mhm.
want that to be like the state of mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
We always want to kind of think in a wellness way, I guess you'd say. So when this happened, that kind of threw me off, because when you get a diagnosis like this, you're like, wait, I'm sick. And
Right.
so I had to retrain my brain, like, no, you're not. And so when I found out, it was the stress was unreal. We were in and out of doctors. I mean, it was just such a change. Um, but we didn't want to say anything to them until we understood everything and knew the plan. I knew once I knew the plan, I would be okay. But and so we kind of waited. And I remember during that waiting period, because it was like a month or so, that we didn't tell them. My oldest son got mono, And he was so sick. He was so sick. It was like, I swear it was like 2 months.
Oh
And
gosh.
usually we can battle, we try to just adjust them and do vitamins. We try to do all that stuff. And so usually they get sick, but they can get over it pretty quick.
Right.
And so when this happened, we're like, what is going on? Well, I realized later he was being empathetic toward me. I truly think he got that sick because he knew something was going on, but
Mhm.
we weren't sharing it.
Mhm.
And so when we finally had that plan and we were able to tell them, we talked about it before we decided. I even looked it up. How do you say it? What do you say to kids?
Right.
Because you don't know. You're just like, I mean, it just seems so permanent of what you
Mhm.
say is going to
Right.
affect. Um, but we wanted to be honest. We wanted to use the cancer word. I wanted to use that.
Mhm.
Um, and so we set them down. We had it all kind of prepared what we were going to say, and they took it well. We just let them know, I got diagnosed with this. We're going to do this treatment. I wanted them to know they didn't give it to me. This was not like they were not associated with this. This did not happen because of them.
Right.
And I wanted them to know that I wasn't going to give it to anybody either. I'm
Right.
not contagious. And so I wanted them to feel safe
Mhm.
and then just kind of explain the treatment. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go. And we got them bracelets. We all wore the same bracelet to be a family, to be,
Mhm.
we wanted to be kind of like let's see how we can make this positive and just be a group.
Right.
So talking to them, I felt so much better. We all just were like, okay, like they took it so well and they wanted to support me and
Mhm.
knew, yes, some of this treatment might make me tired or I might not feel good or what. They understood that. And when I did the cold capping, I would come home for 5 hours after treatment and I would still have to cold cap.
Right.
They would be a part of it. They could see it and they motivated me to be so positive. And
Mhm.
I did. I just stayed as positive as possible. I still do because I wanted them to see that and know we can get through this.
Yeah.
Um, it was a lot of life lessons for our family this year, let me tell you. So, um, it went okay. Once we told them truly, it just like it was all better. It was all
Right. The fact that they were kind of in with the know of what you were going
yes,
through, and it
and be a
kind of
part of
probably
it.
helped them. Yeah.
Did.
Yeah.
I think it did.
Well, and you're right though, because I feel like kids, when you try to explain something to them, especially at their emotional maturity level as young kids, they don't understand, especially with it not being contagious and stuff. So the fact that you
Yes.
you had all those lessons ready and talked to them about that is probably, I mean, it was just so helpful. And I think it's probably going to be encouraging to other parents as well, too,
Yeah.
especially, you know, parents that will go through this in the future. You're a good person for them to ask those questions too.
Oh,
And
for
especially
sure.
that conversation with your kids, because it's so important. Like you
It
said,
is.
especially the initial conversation is going to stick with them.
It does. It does. So you have to be in the right mindset and the right
Mhm.
space before you tell. If I would have told them at the beginning, oh my gosh, it probably wouldn't have been good. But it was just the right time. But I think it's important for them to know, because they might hear it from someone else. And
Yeah,
you want to open it up for questions if they have any. So yeah, they took it really well. Kids are so resilient.
they are. And I'm glad that you had that support system and that they're, getting, I mean, they were involved with everything, getting to help you and stuff. So I,
Yeah.
I can
They
imagine that's a very hard conversation, but it seems like you did it very, very well. So
they're
I
amazing.
love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when there's other women listening to this, what would you tell them? What are some advice you give them about, motherhood, getting a diagnosis as severe as this? What is some advice you have for them?
Well, first, as moms, we really don't put ourselves first. I mean, we just don't. We're always running around with our kids. I think it's so important to put your health first and make it a priority at least. Make it a
Right.
priority because the healthier you stay helps you for if something comes up, even if it's just an injury,
Right.
or anything comes up, you're able to handle it better and better able to take care of them. So I think really putting your health as a priority. And I think advocate for yourself always. As women, we have to advocate for ourselves in just surrounding ourselves with the right doctors or plans or team, I think that's really huge. And to um, to slow down in life, slow down
Mhm.
a little bit and be aware of your body. I think that is so huge. But also know this was the most serious diagnosis. And if you ever got anything like this, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
There's so much research. So they knew exactly the type of breast cancer I had. They knew exactly how well chemo would help me, how much radiation would help me. I mean,
Mhm.
they know all these percentages. They know it's so advanced that um, I don't want anybody to be afraid of getting things checked out because some people
Right.
just want to know. Like, I don't want to know if it is something, but you do because the younger I've connected with a lot of people on Instagram. One of the best things I ever did was share my story, honestly.
Yeah.
And it has connected me with a lot of women that I mean, there's girls in their 20s that they're finding this stuff. And
Mhm.
I just it's more aggressive the younger you are. And so the quicker you find it, the better,
Mhm.
And um, so yeah,
Well,
I
I think a lot of people don't think about that too. Like we went to UMC had an event the other day about getting mammograms, and one of my younger friends hadn't been doing hadn't been checking herself. She didn't know
yeah,
much about it and stuff. But
yeah,
it
which is
does seem there is a younger generation this is happening to, and
mhm.
I wasn't aware that it was more aggressive the younger that you are, but that does make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We've tried to figure it out. We're like, why is this? Why I'm just in the world now, I know, but it's
Right.
so to me, I just see so many stories all the time and I'm like, what is happening? Like,
Hmm.
where did this come from?
Yeah.
And so that's why we just have to be, it's so good to be aware. And it sounds weird to think of like a self-exam. And I truly did not do self-exams.
Yeah.
I didn't. And I'm a chiropractor. Like you think I would pay attention to that kind of thing. It's just more, but now I would say, yeah, like I don't
Always do the self exams. Yeah.
use self-exams. I
Yeah.
mean, I try to think of a better word to use of like, but truly just, gosh, just check because you just never know. And you know what's really good too is genetic testing. Um, mine was not genetic. They did do a
Hmm.
genetic test on me. Okay, they think it could have been, but there's just not enough data yet.
Okay.
There's so many genes to test, and they've only done so many. This is kind of newer, but it's so good to get a test anyways for anyone.
Yeah.
It made it more affordable where you don't even have to use insurance. But because if you do have that mutation, the BRCA,
Uh-huh.
BRC, whatever it is, if you do have that, I mean, it's such a high chance of getting breast cancer that a lot of people are doing prophylactic surgeries just to make sure.
Right.
So genetic testing is so good. I just as an extra way to check to know.
Yeah. So in your family, there's not a history of breast cancer that
No,
you know of. Okay.
it way down the line, so far down the line,
Right.
but no, and so that's yeah, it's kind of shocking that that came up.
Well, I love that you're talking about slowing down because this is going to probably be one of our very first episodes. It is going to be one of our first episodes in 2023.
Mhm.
And I turned 40 this year.
Okay, yep,
And so I've, you get to this age and you're like, you kind of see what's your perspectives changed. And
exactly.
especially after going through what you went through, and you
Yep,
realize what's important and what can fall by the wayside. And I think as moms, we are so, like you shared earlier, fast paced, won't slow down. We put
mhm,
ourselves last, but you
yep,
have to put the oxygen mask on, like they say. And I
yep,
think a lot of women are finally getting to that. I don't know if it's because we're sharing more, but getting to that place where I have to take care of me first if I'm going to take care of anybody else. And
yep.
this pace that I'm going at is not healthy.
I know.
Right.
Especially when we turn 40, it's like we feel it. We're like, no, wait, So no, it's true. Yeah. I 2023, we're gonna slow it down.
Yeah, moms, we got to start taking care of ourselves and checking for these things and making rest and health a priority. I
Oh,
know
for sure.
because our number one thing's our kids, and if we're
Right.
not in that good place, then we
That
can't
was,
help them.
nope,
So, and then they
exactly.
learn from us. And that's another thing. I'm sure your kids, they're learning so much from you in your strength, and
Mhm.
not only your strength and your physical strength, but mental strength as
Mhm.
well. And this is something that's forming them into the
So,
adults that they're going to be, and the parents and
yep,
friends and coworkers that are going to be in the future. So,
exactly. And mindset's so huge.
yeah.
I started at the beginning of this, someone gave me a gratitude journal, and it was so huge to start my day with that and just write
Mhm.
down things you're grateful for. And it would just put me in this great mood. And so, more of a choosing happy, and that helped a ton. So, and I think we can use that in anything in life,
Mhm.
just getting that mindset going. Because our kids, they're going to pay attention.
Right. Yeah, they learn from us. Now
Yep.
you said, the workouts and showing up for yourself physically, that kept you going. And any other mental stuff besides the gratitude journal that you would suggest to anybody out there that's going through a hard time?
Um, yeah, it was that gratitude journal was huge. Um, I did that. Someone else gave me, oh, what is it called? Jesus Calling? Is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Book. I do that every day too. And it's just getting your mindset, just knowing you're surrounded and
Mhm.
taking a little. I actually started waking up about an hour before my kids. And there were sometimes during treatment that did not happen, but I tried as much as I could because I needed that time to center myself.
Yes.
And it just gets the ball rolling for the day of like, you have a happy vibe. And then your kids are more calm and have that vibe too. Affirmations are so good. Write those down and just say them to yourself.
Mhm.
All of that it's truly a choice to kind of start that way. And I think it's
Yeah.
huge. I think it's huge. It got me through it.
Absolutely. I'm not a morning person, but I know the difference in my day if I
Mhm.
get up an hour before the
Yeah.
kids and I'm able to do my devotional, kind of get my mind right, like you said. And you're less hurried when they get up, because if everybody wakes up and you're frantic, that sets the tone for the rest of
Oh,
the day.
oh, it's awful. Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I love that you said that, because
It's
I know
huge.
the difference between the days I choose to get up early and have
Yeah.
that time and the days that I choose not to.
Right.
Um, it makes a huge difference. It
It
really
does.
does.
And it's just like you said, taking time for yourself, like just making yourself a priority a little
Right.
bit of the day, and it just helps you feel better and be a better mom.
Right. Exactly. And we have so a good community of women here. And so reach out to those people. Reach out and find
Exactly.
your support system
Oh,
and go to
for
the doctor.
sure. Huge. Do the walk and talks,
Yeah.
whatever. Oh, it's huge.
I do want to switch gears a little bit, because I don't want to have you on the show without talking about your businesses, because,
Yeah,
well, it seems like this is your way of life. So
it is.
please talk about Infinity Wellness and Pure Health, so people listening can know what you can provide for them here in Lubbock as well.
Yeah. So, you know, as a chiropractor, people think of if I'm in pain, I just go get adjusted. But really, truly, it's a whole it is a lifestyle change. It's getting the nervous system functioning is at the highest level that you can, and then it just gets you through stresses because we have our chemical stresses like we drink a Coke or something, or we have the chemicals in the air that we breathe in. We have emotional stresses all the time, and we have physical stresses. All of that really pulls down on our body and causes different symptoms and all of that. So adjustments help clear that. So that's why I'm so huge about chiropractic, even with kids.
Mhm.
Um, and so we do that. We do a lot of athlete work too. So bouncing muscles and all of that. Acupuncture is I love acupuncture. I have such a heart for acupuncture. It's really great for stress and
Uh-huh.
I call my favorite points are the happy points. They go on the top of the head and people love those. I mean, it truly like calms you down. So we see people for all kinds of things. Um, and what else? So when we got together and opened Pure Health, that we opened it in 2019,
Okay.
December, right before everything happened in
Really.
2020. But it ended up working out because we had these vitamin IVs that were their immunity drips. And
Uh-huh.
so that was just helping people everybody cared about that anyway. So that helped. And over there, it's really good for proactive, just staying healthy. But we have a lot of things for energy and performance, and we have our slim drips. We have our hot. We have an ozone sauna that has helped me get through a lot of this year, and I used to do it before anyway. But that's cleansing. It's so amazing.
So what is the ozone sauna?
Yeah, so the ozone sauna, it has 10 different modalities. You get in this, it kind of looks like a enclosed bathtub, kind of.
Okay.
It's a horrible, they should make it cuter. It's not. But your head sticks out of it because you don't want to breathe in the ozone, but the ozone surrounds your body, and so cleansing. It helps to detox. It helps burn calories. It makes you sweat in there, so you're just getting all of that out.
All the bad stuff out.
Yes, there's electromagnetic therapy in there. There's so in there, it's working with the cells in the body, helping to balance that, but also on the outside, anything skin related. I mean, it is probably the best thing we have in Lubbock for wellness, for health,
Okay.
is the ozone.
So, if somebody wanted to come to Pure Health and do some of these treatments, do you have like a membership, or do they pay per treatment? How does that work?
We have both. We try
Okay.
to cater to everybody, basically. So we have memberships that I love, especially starting at the beginning of the year. Whenever you have a membership, it is drips and shots, possibly the ozone. It depends which membership you get, but it's something you have each month. And a lot of women come and do it, and they do it like while their kids are at school. They'll
Right.
jump in there, and it is something that is planned out for each month, that you are staying on top of your health and utilizing this. We have something called glutathione. My absolute favorite thing. I haven't been able to do it this year because it detoxes you. I've had to watch it, but glutathione is so incredible. It brings out the glow in your skin, and it's a master detox of the body. Everybody needs to Google what glutathione is, but we offer that in drips and shots. And so the girls love that. Like
Oh yeah, I'm like writing this down. I need this.
It's the best thing ever. And we didn't even realize it until we knew glutathione was really great. But when we added it and I started utilizing it every single week, right when we got it, my skin was glowing, and I was like, what is happening? I mean, it was just incredible. And it wasn't supposed to necessarily be for that at first.
Right.
So we have all these fun things. It's like beauty stuff, but we have energy. Oh, we have lymphatic drainage there.
Yes, I've been reading about that lately.
We brought that because with my situation, I am more susceptible to lymphedema. Well, all of us have lymph issue. I mean, we all need to get that flushed out, so good for health, but it also is like so slimming because it's detox. I mean, it's like really detoxing. So, that is huge to have over there.
Okay.
So some things are membership, but other things people can just walk in and just get whatever. Or there's like packages, the lymphatic drainage that, there's a package, or for the Hocket. But really, truly, gosh, anybody that wants to ask me stuff about it, let me know. But because it's a lot, we put so much in one little space. We wanted the best, and everything there is high quality. All vitamins, everything is so high quality there. And we put our favorite supplements over there. So I know it's like, it can be kind of like, it's a lot, but our staff is really good over there. And, anybody wants to ask me anything, they can. So we love this stuff.
Well, and following you on social media, if anybody's listening, definitely follow you personally, but also Infinity Wellness and Pure Health, because y'all do a lot of videos and frequently asked questions and kind of just breaking down different treatments and things that you offer. So I love watching those things, because I've already had like lymphatic drainage on my to-do list.
Oh yes, I know. Yep. 2023, it's gonna be a good year.
Yeah. So I love that you're coming on at the beginning of the year, because then people can make their list of things to do for themselves and, start checking those things off, and, space it how they need to throughout the year.
Exactly.
But, everybody, January 1, everybody is ready to, hit the ground running with some goals. And so I think this episode's a wonderful one to start, because it gives people things that they can look forward to and do and learn about. And also it's a reminder that we need to treat ourselves better and slow down, and moms need to take that break and look out for themselves.
Absolutely. I agree.
Well, is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners? You know, how can we get a hold of you, find you, anything that you want to share information?
Um,
Oh, wait.
like you said, my Instagram, I'm usually really available on there. And I try to, I'm always going to keep up with my journey and tell everybody about it, but also I'm going to be changing into okay, I've done the medical stuff, but now I have to get everything back. So I will be doing so many more IVs and just different things. So I always try to educate on there. And then our Pure Health and our Infinity is, the
Yeah.
best way to kind of be in touch and kind of see what we do.
Well, I will share all of this information with links to all of your places, businesses and personal, in the show notes so people can find you.
Yeah.
And it's, I know there are people that do like to go through this journey like privately and stuff, but I just commend you so much for sharing that because of your openness to share, your willingness to share, people, you're going to save lives and people are going to be more aware. And it's so important to have people like you that are talking about this and you know reminding us that we need to take care of ourselves, but also knowing what to look for too because of what you went through yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about women supporting women, honestly. It's like,
Absolutely.
I mean, we go through so much and to just, so I am happy to share my story. And if it helps and saves one person, I'm good with that. So,
Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. I really appreciate this.
thank you so much.